All right, welcome back. It's Laz and Paladin here to bring you through for ESL Challenger League in North America for Season 48. And now we got ourselves day number 2. And we're doing a little bit of a repeat because we are going to have ourselves an interesting matchup here with M80 once again. But this time, they're going to be taking on Limitless. But Paladin, before we dive into things, how you doing?
Doing great, man. I mean, it's been interesting to watch M80's ECL debut, and I think they've been looking very sharp. There's still a lot of things that they've got to work out on different halves of different maps, but of course, as we go through some of these quote-unquote easier matchups for them, we'll get to see that development take place pretty much on the fly with these next couple of maps. So excited to get stuck into it as always, Laz. I think we're in for a good one, especially on that M80 side.
Yeah, and I'm glad we talked a lot about that, and we were you and I got to excitingly bring up their debut. And before we get into that, of course, like, we are on the bottom of the screen here where we're going to be covering this M80 Limitless game, but again on the A stream as well, it is going to be the wild card versus Elevate game, which that's going to be an interesting one for itself too, right? And you and I talked a lot about wild card and how exciting they are just with their some of their restrictions with their players right now, but they seem to be still a force to reckon with.
Yeah, actually, it seems like the schedule might be incorrect. Wildcard Elevate is happening right now, but it should be NRG Boss on the A stream, just because Wildcard Elevate got pushed up an hour. But yeah, you should have still co-streams for that and all that good stuff. But yeah, lots of good Counter-Strike going on today. A lot of competitive games with the top dogs within ECL. And we've got to talk about another top dog within ECL in the sense of M80. And we might as well bring up the matchup graphic and discuss about these two teams, because it is very clear to me, very similar to the matchup that we had yesterday, that there are very lopsided teams in the sense of M80 are a near tier 1 roster gunning for the likes of Complexity and Liquid's banner at the top end, and Limitless kind of still figuring out what they want to be within the ECL circuit right now, considering they are fielding the core of Carpe Diem to keep that roster spot for themselves, but also this isn't the 5-man unit that they want moving forward. So it's a very identity crisis level of a Limitless today.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of hard to pinpoint what to expect from Limitless, because I think that's going to be the kind of the wild card of them, right? I mean, that's going to be the piece where we really don't know what to expect from these guys, and that might be where they just kind of play no fear. They might just try some ballsy moves. I have no idea, but that's where that's where it does make it a little bit exciting to see what they could go against a big team like M80. But kind of turning things over to them, we got to see them with their debut yesterday. Things looked pretty good for them, all things considered. We did see some defensive little bit of kinks. We saw some moments that you can tell they're still figuring out things and their adjustments needed. But honestly, it was a 2-0 at the end of the day for them. They were able to get themselves in an undefeated streak right now. But I'm impressed with what we're seeing. And there was so much talk. You and I talked yesterday about Lake and just him being the new addition, obviously, with Mulbs, departing. And so far, he looks like he's fitting in quite well.
Yeah, and now he has to play against his former teammates, basically, which is heartbreaking that he has to play against his former team. But I'm sure there was no bad blood between the separation. Of course, you also had another player leave in Micro over to Boss, who are also succeeding. And currently, right now, to paint an uglier picture again, Limitless are winless within ECL so far. They have played, I believe, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10 games so far, and they have yet to win. And to be fair to them, they have played some of the top most teams within the region. Nouns, Wildcard, PA, NRG. These are all teams that you would favor to go deep within the playoffs. But the one that jumps out to me the most is the losses against Lag. It didn't really feel like much of a competition there, and I think that they are a caliber of a team that should be able to produce something against a roster like Lag, which was not the case. So I'm very curious to see how Limitless have adapted in this situation. Are they still practicing on a regular basis with this 5-man unit and whatnot? So we'll bring up the Veto and see if that could potentially sway us in any way. We go towards Anubis. This is a map that when they had Manx, they really enjoyed, and they even continued that good form when they added in Sin. I think they've figured out how to mid-round on this map very well. This is, of course, where we had that huge pop-off game from Blake at EWC. So I'm not very worried at all about M80 on this map specifically.
No, I mean, I feel like if anything, this veto actually, definitely benefited, for M80. And that kind of goes into a little bit of the, the Kidia player to watch as well as, that is going to be Lake, right? I mean, that is a guy that we talked about. He is this young star that is, in the development stage in this group and kind of getting himself that comfort. But again, like there was a situation for him where, he did have a really good game against a team like Complexity that was into an overtime situation with that 16-14 win. But he was the only player to put up some pretty decent rating, right? I mean, he was at 1.25. He had the only stats that were positive in terms of like, KDR, things like that. So it's really impressive to see. And Complexity are one of those top 3 NA teams that we talk about, different events and things like that. So it's cool to see that someone like Lake is stepping up when he needs to. And that's what we got to see a little bit yesterday, here in the ECL matches as well. He had a bit of a slow start, but then it seemed like as soon as he was cooking, it was done so quickly.
Yeah, you could see that he has flashes, and those flashes need to be bottled up a little bit more consistently. And that's what we're looking towards when you compare Lake to Malbs and the void that this young star has to now fill. Getting solid numbers over the course of his time on an Unjustified and Carpe Diem is one thing, and it definitely put himself on the radar of these top NA teams. But now you've got to put your money where your mouth is and actually prove that you are good enough to don these special colors. And of course, even with all that being said, we've still gone with M80. It's not really a competition here today. It is 2 very different teams in 2 very different scenarios as far as ECL is concerned to them. Yeah. And I think that this should be one of those beatdowns, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, I really do think, like, when we talk about there's an opportunity, and I made the comment that maybe there's an opportunity, a world where Limitless can, get themselves some rounds and, make things a little bit interesting. But at the same time, it's really hard to ignore, not to ignore the streak that they're on, which is not even finding a win. They haven't been able to find a dub at all so far this season. Like you said, the closest game they've had, I think that was against Lag, and I think it was a 13-8 loss. But at the same time, like every other top team they played in ECL, it's just been a domination. Like it really has just been kind of a really scary sight. So I think for these guys, I'm hoping they'll just kind of ignore it. They're just going to play a little bit loose and see what they can get away with. But at the same time, I think all the odds are going to be on M80, right? I mean, we're definitely seeing, like you said, they're a top team, that tier 1 team that is fighting their way to, overrun like Complexity and other, organizations like that too. So there's a lot of, expectation in this. And theoretically, in the 2 best of ones, I would, we both made the prediction here, but it really should be a 2-0 for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, when we compare expectations, right, you look at M80 and you say these guys are expecting to qualify to the next season of Pro League. If you're Limitless, they are expecting to at least survive into the next season of ECL, let alone think about a playoff spot, right? So when we compare those 2 teams in that sense, they are just vastly different. But just a little bit of time now before we jump in the game. And as far as M80 go, I am looking at cohesion as the number 1 thing as far as narratives go. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's going up against an easier team, but this is where you want to run your strategies. You want to learn how to have these flight paths down to a T, and basically create good habits. I can't stress enough how creating these good habits are so important before you actually take up to a LAN stage and have a bigger performance there, because we have a lot of teams that get themselves that LAN spot. You look at a PA, you look at a wild card here and there. They kind of go about these officials in different ways depending on the opponents. And sometimes that can create bad habits. And in that situation, when you are put into a game time situation on a LAN stage, it can sometimes fall apart because you just haven't, developed and given your team the respect that they deserve. It's a very hard line to walk as a team, especially when you're going up against easier opposition. But one thing I really liked about M80 when they played Isolos Laser yesterday was they did take it very seriously, especially in how they wanted to run their strategies on that T side specifically.
Yeah, and that's such a good point you bring up too, because again, that was a major thing of criticism for us. Like we both were like, look, we're assuming that M80 are still going to perform and play, this like any other team. But I mean, at the same time, when you get big leads and you show a lot of, dominant fashion, sometimes that discipline kind of slips away, but it looked like for these guys wasn't the case at all. They maintained their game. They looked really good. Even the fact, I think it was what, like 11-1 was the first half, things like that. It was just a massacre. But either way, we'll find out if that's going to be the tail. Limitless on the CT side, waiting to see what they can find. No kits on for them. It's just going to be the armor and pistol up. No utility, but it looks like already these pistols are starting to come into effect in the side for M80 now, getting the 2 openers, getting this bomb down. And now it's even Slacks here with the P250, maybe to find himself a little bit more. But look at this. He even pulls back away. The CTs, they're surprisingly actually winning some of these engagements back here, Paladin. This is impressive.
Yeah, Lake is trapped on default. He finally falls, but Swisher has lived for long enough that Sin can come on this late flank. I don't know how the hell he's gotten here. And Sin knows that this is definitely just a fake. He's got all the time in the world to just decapitate Seb. Sure, Wolfie gets that final kill, but I'm afraid that there might not be enough time. Actually, maybe he does have a little bit, just at the nick of it. Yes, Limitless will find themselves that opening pistol. And I mean, I was really going to hype up Lake and the fact that he gets so many entries on that B bomb site. That's what he just really prospered in against Complexity. And I'm hoping we can see a little bit more of that today. With that bomb plant and 3 kills, or 4 kills rather, M80 will buy every day of the week.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was a really good attempt, you know, that we saw from Sin. I mean, it was really, really close. Just, again, just needed that extra second just in the clutch. But, you know, good work from Limitless. It was a very scrappy pistol round, but I was a little bit worried for them with no kit or no utility at all. It was really just about, you know, firefights, and that, I feel like that's a ballsy move against a team like M80, right? Like, we talked a lot about them yesterday. Like, this is a strong team individually. A lot of players that can do some damage, but now the mollies are going to be able to get thrown. Now it's just overwhelming it, and there's Swisher once again. Comes from the back lines and just stabs them, and now you can just see back to the 3-3. Bomb's still going to make its way into the site. The plant should be done. It should be fine. It's going to go into safe. Wolfie trying everything he can through Temple. Just praying to find something he's able to. Now Swisher, big task at hand for the ace, but not going to happen at all. And Limitless, once again, will find themselves in another round.
Yeah, you know, you have the couple kills coming in from Swisher, flanking that B bomb site, but very smart from DJF and co to drop the necessary flashbangs on the retake, catch players off guard before that bomb goes down. And they really do utilize every bit of utility that they can to basically just siphon off the health of these T-sided players. And eventually, they've just got to face, or at least show a couple of shoulders here and there. And that's when Limitless capitalizes. So far, doing very well to capitalize on potential man advantages and utilizing their superior weaponry and utility to get themselves ahead. So far, the individuals aren't bailing out M80 as you'd like to think.
Oh, wow. This is risky, though, from Wolfie, too, because even just on the other side of this, yeah, that's a free kill. I was just going to say, Slacks has been able to get his timing right. And a little bit of a surprise attack, the element of surprise. And so now we've already lost a rifle here for the CT side. That's going to be grabbed, and that's actually going to be a good note here for Slacks, too, because he does have that armor. So again, we don't have to worry about the aim punch, and this is actually a favorable situation for him. Look at Lake. Once again, already pushed through bridge, getting himself into mid right now. M80 looking like they might just go for the split into the A site right now. Seb just on the other side of this again, this smoke. He has to either commit to this or he has to kind of fall back. He is going to commit, but he gets punished for this one too.
And now it's all up to Wiz basically on this A site. He gets blasted away by Rek. Beautiful shot on the Deagle there. And it's this half buy that actually nets M80 their first round. I don't think DJF or Tender want anything to do with this one. And it's unfortunate that they did all the hard work to get to this point, to get themselves the easier round on round number 3. But with that bomb going down for a second time, there was still room for at least a pistol buy to come through, some armor to follow up as well. That's where Slacks can start to rule the roost with that A4. And Limitless just get crunched onto that A bomb site. Lovely work. And that's the dangers that come with Limitless fighting in this best of one. You never know when an individual can just step up, find an entry, and just run away with the round.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's a situation where Slacks was able to find that first engagement, but I love that Lake was again just kind of lurking around. We saw that yesterday on the match where he was playing on Ancient and he was kind of lurking in mid. He was kind of just trying to find something and a quick little bit of a, I don't want to call it like a rotating frag, but essentially like trying to get a little bit cheeky. And then Rec would even put himself in positions to get some kind of a big lurk. But either way, really good teamwork from M80. That looked really cool, calm, and collected for them. Limitless once again are going to try to force things up here a little bit with the MP9. A Famos on the hands of Seb. And now you can see a 2-player stack in this B site. So now they put a little bit, more ownership on this A commit, which is very, very interesting. I feel like normally you typically see some players into this B site a little bit quicker. And look at how fast Lake's already put himself into this position. He's already going for a big fight so early on in the round.
This is Malbs-esque. I mean, he would love to do this round after round. And Sin has given him that opportunity to do so. He's got a little bit of a pixel gap as well to spot out a potential rotating player, but it's his bait and switch setup that's still activated for Limitless. And Lake still navigates it. He still finds one. Slacks is there to help out and clear out the close angle. That's the A site falling. And M80 just disassemble Limitless in that round. It's just a couple of slight timings here and there, but I think you can tell that chemistry is already starting to build here, Laz, and I just really like that connection that Slacks and Lake both showed there.
Yeah, that's always the thing about M80. Even if they're kind of starting themselves a bit slow, I feel like that's kind of a trend for them. Like the pistol rounds seem to be this like kind of an Achilles heel for them, like where they're not able to get themselves a good start, but it's always the comeback. And I mean, we speak of comebacks. I mean, this is now Limitless finding themselves some quick kills. Now they've kind of turned things up. They still have a bit of time left, and they do have a kit on the hands of DJF. So it's a question if, Rec can stay alive. He is able to take him out. But again, now down to the 1v1. Time is looking like it's becoming a little bit more limited. Everybody's going to go down, but M80 will win this due to the timer. But that's what we talked about again, being scrappy and Limitless. They're still trying to press on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Limitless, you want to get them down in the mud. You want to break up the defaults. You don't want to allow them to get comfortable in setups like these, and keep that pressure on the economy. Don't let them get free rounds on the board. Unfortunately for them, they will have to concede a pretty much free round here beyond Tender's A4. They're taking this tack timeout to just discuss the possibility of a force buy, but I wouldn't advise upon that, just considering that this T-side money has really flourished in the past 2 rounds. They've been getting repeated bomb plants. They've kept players alive, and it just doesn't really feel viable on the CTN, considering how poor that force buy would look like. So, yeah, I think at this point, just try to get Tender in an advantageous position. Maybe try to make him take an early duel out E-box, or B main or A main, and see what you can get from there.
Yeah, and I do agree with this. Like, I think in this situation like this, and I'm glad you said it, is that the plants are coming through, and M80 have been able to get themselves in these sites. I just don't think Limitless working around that M4 was wise, so I'm glad they're just kind of preserving as much cash as they can. Tender actually looking like he wants to get a bit aggro at this, find himself a little bit of an opening, but nobody's going to be home. And I mean, Swisher just kind of playing a bit more passive. Really good call from him. Again, kind of expecting there could be this light purchase from them, or even maybe a potentially full save, all things considered. But now Tender has to be the guy that needs to make this play. Look at how fast that M80 go for that 3-person swing. That's going to be a first one, but it gets traded out immediately. Slacks, he eats them alive with a double.
Experience shining there for M80, making sure that they're not jumping the gun too quick. They triple swing once, and then they triple swing again off the back of that Molotov, flushing out Tender into the open. And unfortunately, he just can't get the job done with that many bodies. The target selection is just too much to ask for. Now, it's just these measly USPs stuck in the back of the bomb site. They're just going to get flushed out with the utility being rained down on this B bomb site. And now it's just Wolf left up in the clutch. I mean, at this point, obviously the clutch is just nigh impossible. Really, the priority at this point is seeing if he can get an exit, snag away a gun, and head for the hills. But even that is not looking very likely as M80 look to rack themselves up a third. And slowly but surely, lads, they're gaining steam here on this T side. You're starting to see a lot of various ideas that they're trying to work into this half work splendidly.
Yeah, and it's only the cost of Swisher too. So, I mean, that was, and I love, like you said, that was the experience of Slacks, and I think that's a really important thing to make a comment about, because that was a really good way for them to just get those trades. Ooh, okay, I mean, it's not going to matter at all, but Wolfie just trying to see what he can find, but no dice, no guns, nothing, nada. So it's just going to be a USP that he saves and 3,800 bucks in his pocket, but now we'll see that there is going to be about $5,400 for tender. I mean, do we see an op maybe get into play? Wouldn't be necessarily against it, but at the same time, I mean, if they go for it, it's just going to limit that utility a bit more.
Yeah, but they still don't have max loss, so it's not even the safest purchase at this point. And if you want to talk about individuals that could potentially take over the game, you look at Wiz. This guy has the capabilities of having a pop-off game or even a series, but we just haven't seen that level from him in quite some time. Now, aggression into A main from both Wolf and Wiz, but a lineup is available. Sin finds one, but there's Wiz, finally off the mark, finding himself a quick double. Swisher wants to get involved. He's going to get flashed into this, and Wiz is blind as a bat. Great trade there from Swisher. Now, this A side is truly in dire straits. Seb is alone and doesn't know that he's being encroached upon. Lake goes through his own T smoke, and like ships in the night, they dodge each other for just momentarily. Finally, Lake will nail it. Slacks with a long-range spray, and surely in this 2v1, you'd favor the T's every day of the week.
Yep, you definitely would. And I mean, the thing for DJF right now, I mean, he doesn't have a kit, but at least with this, movement that he has, like, he's going to come for the flank, but it's not going to be easy, though. I mean, Slack's already down to 51. It's going to help somewhat, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about finding this one player. He has to get this timing just right. He has to be able to find... I was thinking maybe Slack's going to be a bit slower getting up there, but no, look at the positioning from both of them. Now he's only just got a flash remaining. Throws the HE. Lake with a nice little bit of a jiggle. Okay, and there it is. And that's why we put him as the player to watch. It's shots like that.
Yeah, he can pull off some incredible footwork there. But M80, this time getting scrappy in A main, but ruthless as ever to jostle for that control. And they're making sure that no matter what they do, they're not going in dry. They've got a flash to support or maybe an extra player. And that little buddy system is working out splendidly for them. Now 4 on the trot for the T side. Limitless now on that max loss bonus will have still a buy that can get a little dangerous if M80 are not careful. But of course we expect them to with these nades that they're tossing in. Sin will fall. And now they should know what's coming. They should be able to deal with this, but Seb will find one more. This is lovely. They have a chance to upgrade a gun as well, and M80 don't want anything to do with it. If they dish it, they say this is a lost cause, and they'll try to group together and reclaim the A side of the map instead. Rec now on duty for that.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting, too, the fact that M80 are taking this a lot slower than I thought they would. Like, I thought there would have been the information that there's at least... 3 full players committed to this B push, but I mean, they're still expecting somebody to be kind of anchoring in this. So you can see they're trying to be, calm and collected for this one right now. Even Limitless, I mean, they're grouped up, and they're not even the ones that are, in the situation of, pushing on to this. And okay, now we see Slacks is able to find him the double kill through the smoke as well. That's a huge pickup already. So Slacks once again just able to demonstrate his experience, just shining bright here. The AK remaining here for Wolfie, but again, these guys don't have a kit. They have to get moving. There has to be a connection made with this AK. Not going to happen. Not at all. And now DJF, he's just looking for some extra kills. He's just trying to see what else he can do, and it ain't too much. And now M80 back on a winning streak with 5.
Yeah, that's lovely work there from M80. Not trying to overcomplicate things, get overconfident, and try to retake B main control. They just very methodically clear out the A main. They rotate instantly. They make sure that they're dropping every bit of utility possible. And once that bomb goes down, you are going to continue to favor the T side to lock down that post plan, and they absolutely do. Limitless now struggling to keep up. Finally, you've got that Wiz sniper up and ready to go. But he's just going to be posting up on that B bomb site in the back of the second letter of the alphabet. And it's another mid-take, something that's been very kind to M80 here. And Sin has just absolutely claimed another victim. Seb, not long for this world. They're just going to continue to try to trade through. Wiz is there for the rotate, but he gets clipped.
Yeah, and that was the thing we talked about, you know, someone like Wiz, and I think it was you that mentioned, you know, that was like, look, he can have those pop-off moments, but now that task is going to be a little bit harder with his HP down to 17, so he really only does have one shot to hit and making sure he doesn't get caught with anything at all. But look at Lake, just waiting things out and actually not able to win that fight. But now you can see Swisher able to find himself a duel into this B site. That's going to be perfectly executed. Now that Mully just pushed down DJF, he was trying to see if he can just slow down that aggression. It's nada. And now M80 once again are able to get this bomb down. They're in a strong post-plant position. They still have some utility available. Double or triple Molotov, I should say, with the smoke available. So this is going to make it worse for wear for the CT side. And honestly, unless they can find a kill, I was going to say they can go for it. But you can already see they're beating me to it. They're going to save this. And honestly, I'm not against this at all.
Yeah, low HP on a couple players. You don't really have too much space. Nobody's offering up anything. It is a nightmare situation for the CTs to try and reclaim that B bomb site, especially without a smoke. If you can't cordon off at least one of Dark or B main, it is a lost cause and a man disadvantage. So M80 will get 6 now in a row on this T side. Not looking back after their slower start. This time it is just domination out of the B main side of things. Not really any breath that they have to take or slow down. It is just smooth sailing right now as far as entries go. And you'd expect that on this T side. You'd expect that from a high caliber team like M80.
Yeah, it feels like now we're really starting to see the, you know, the efforts of M80 and looking a lot better. And that's, you know, we mentioned that they're kind of a, like, I really do think they're a slow starting team. Like, I feel like it is their demise at some points, but look at how fast they're turning things around, even despite losing the pistol in the second round. I mean, it's been pretty much them just all the way through now. So, which is kind of why we're seeing this second timeout being utilized right now from the CT side, and definitely makes sense because, again, they have to spend some coin. They have to work around the, you know, the 3 guns that were saved. But I would like to see something different from a Limitless, like maybe even the double player in A main going for some aggression, just something to, you know, push back a little bit here so that M80 are caught off guard. Because I think if they're just going to keep playing this turtle setup that they're doing, it's not going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're trying some aggressive setups, but unfortunately for them, M80 have read them pretty much every single time. Even if they lose or gain that map control, M80 are just smart enough to reclaim something else on another part of the map. They've just been very proactive with how they're handling the situation, and Limitless just cannot keep up with the pace in which M80 are switching up the rotation, switching up what parts of the map they want to claim. And this time they're going to try to gun for some mid control, at least spam down. They've brought Slacks to 29 HP with those nades. And this time the flashes work very much in their own favor, as finally they quell the aggression that Lake has been sending at them. And now Wiz could be teed up for yet another one. There's that dry swing from Rek. And it's a 3v5 that surely the CTs have got to convert from this point on.
Yeah, we haven't seen I think a position like this at all in this game so far in the 9 rounds. Is the fact that Limitless haven't even lost a player and they're in a huge advantage. They're even still trying to regress. Oh man, the timing! Oh no, Slacks, you were thinking he was maybe going to be gifted an easy kill. Okay, that one's going to make do of something. Tender's taking so much damage as well, but now Swisher, being in this position in B main, needs to be able to find something to push these guys back. This smoke's going to make it a little bit more difficult for him. Slacks, oh dear God, he's only got 3 HP. He's got to get out of there. And look it's still Sin with the bomb, just posted up in A main, waiting things out. And he does have Wiz that he has to worry about. If he goes for this dry, that's going to be problematic. And there it is.
Yeah, they're just hoping that Wiz is already rotated off of the A side, that Sin can waltz his way through. But no mid pressure means that Wiz can sit on his haunches on the back of default, and he'll be all right. Swisher only finds 1. It's just Slacks on that 3 HP, and Wiz has had himself around 3 kills in total, and now Limitless post themselves their 3rd round on the board. And really have to give a lot of credit to Wiz to just showing that he has the capabilities of just finding openers, being consistent, and hitting the shots necessary.
Yeah, it was so critical for, you know, it was a question of when the op was going to come out, and it finally does. And yeah, Wiz doing what he used to do, and you love to see it, right? I mean, that's where he can be very lethal and pretty scary. So we'll see if he can continue this this reign of terror, maybe. And yeah, he definitely is going to do it, because look at that swing he's going to be able to find against Sin, I should say. And now we're starting to see Limitless. This is where, you know, we were talking about their fragging abilities here, Paladin, and now they're starting to feel pretty good. Now they realize that they can definitely frag out a little bit, but they still got to worry about M80 and even their opper.
Yeah, they're getting really confident now. Tender swinging out B main, and Wiz going for that aggression down mid. Still a 4v4 as the dust settles, and now Limitless have a real opportunity to try and twist the knife. But nothing being offered up so far from the T's. They're just kind of poising themselves for this control. They've got themselves the outer reaches of the B bomb site, and now they want to encroach upon the site proper. Here comes the little bit of an execution. Flashes at the ready. 50 seconds left on the clock, and now Wiz is getting pushed back. So is Tender. All just being tenderized by this utility. And at this point, they're just going to have to give the plant here, Laz.
Yeah, I love that flash, though. That was really, really nicely thrown. Just a bit of like a lob in the middle of the air, but again, it just allowed for Slacks to go for a swing. But I mean, the plant's through, but again, now they have to frag out. It is down to the 2v2, but Rex able to just take these heads. Once again, Seb now, a big mission, a big task, but it's just not meant to be. An M80 once again find themselves in a dominant position with Slacks sitting at 14-4. It was Lake yesterday that was able to put himself in good numbers, but I think Slacks had a little bit of a moment for himself, and he wants to be on the spotlight.
Yeah, 134 ADR is no easy feat from the German sniper. And I mean, at this point right now, you can just see how fantastic their execution was on that B bomb site. Constantly pushing the side anchors back and into the spots where they know these CTs are going to eventually end up. And even though they're in a man disadvantage, M80 looked like they were in prime position of taking that round every day of the week. And taking away all the guns means it's a full pistol buy for the side of Limitless. There's just a dink on offer for Lake, but it's not going to matter. Mid control is lost. M80 look to potentially just bounce back instantaneously in round number 11 and try to claim themselves their A. Seb is still going to fight. Or not Seb, Wiz rather, is going to fight tooth and nail here to hold on to this position. And Wolf is here too. But unfortunately, he won't find anything here, Laz.
Yeah, no, it's a tough spot to be in, right? I mean, you're really hoping that the pistol's going to make some kind of a good connection. I mean, DJF right now, again, he's got to worry from somebody above. And oh, wow, okay. Okay. Swisher gets got with a bit of a stray bullet, and he's not dead, but now you got two guys with the combination of 10 HP together. So not the best position, but they still have their 5 alive. And Limitless, again, double deagles, split apart from each other. Maybe something from Tender? No, not a chance. He's a dead man walking, and now just down to Wiz to see what he can do. And, ooh, blimey, he's able to get something, but honestly, it's just a matter of time here. That nade, maybe? Might be a Tech 9, but man, look at how much damage was done.
Yeah, I mean, pretty ballsy from Slacks to try to go for a Kobe there, but it works out nonetheless. M80 still get themselves 8 rounds. And at this point, if you're Limitless, 4, it's salvageable. You can do something with it. But 3 is a little egregious. So we'll see what they can get done here. You still have that sniper out for Wiz. Pretty much the real formidable hurdle that M80 has to basically clear every round. And for right now, Wiz is tasked with dealing with this A site, and that flash just kind of pushes him off that angle just slightly, and he can't hold on for much longer. Lake is now here on a very fast mid take. DJF is going to show a shoulder, and Lake is going to capitalize. Lake doubles down. And now it is just Wolf at the back of the A bomb site. He's being encroached upon from all positions. It'd be a miracle if he could find one, and unfortunately he will not find any. And now it is just Tender left up in a 1v4. So it is the last round of the half. He will have to go for it, but I don't necessarily favor him in any situation. Slacks with the final kill. 9 rounds on the T side for M80. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back with that second half.
Okay, we are back, and we're here for the second half for the first best of one, and M80 putting themselves in a 9-3, a comfort scoreline. Now on the CT side, which, you know, Paladin, we know, not always the easiest side, but it is M80 nonetheless.
Yeah, I think this is a side that will definitely be tested for M80. They're going to have to show that they've got their foundations down, their rotations tightly knit, and a chance for Limitless to try to bounce back in this game. They're going to try to reclaim themselves a main control, and they will. They cleared all of that out. They now know that everybody else is on the A site proper, and it's going to have to be a bit of a retake here in the 5v4 for M80. Here we go. Slacks to find another whiz to fall, and now these dual Berettas will encroach at the team kill involved, but still it's a 4v1 for Wolf to navigate, and he absolutely cannot. A bomb plant, sure, but round to M80.
Yeah, and honestly, if it wouldn't have been for that TK, I mean, maybe there would have been still 4 alive too, right? But yeah, either way, it looks, you know, very easy, smooth as butter right now from M80, I should say. And now double digits secured, and that plant is good in terms of the money. I mean, this is a situation they could force up, try to see if they can get a little bit cheeky, you know, damage this economy a little bit for the CT side, and Okay, I saw Galil, but it got refunded, so I was thinking, okay, somebody's feeling it a little bit, and it does look like it is going to be back onto the field. So Limitless are going to try to invest in this, and honestly, Paladin, I don't know how you feel, but I'm not even against this just because they need some rounds.
Yeah, it really is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You've got to find a way to get back into this, and I mean, if they lose this round, they're going to lose the game anyways, so might as well purchase through. Wolf finds a labored kill onto Lake, but it's a kill nonetheless, opening 5v4 for the T side. They want to go off of that. They want to continue to encroach. They don't want to allow for Swisher to reclaim that weapon, but he still will either way, and that Molotov is actually extinguished. A little bit of damage done to Wolf with that T-nade, but Limitless still very hungry to claim this B bomb side. Look at how much damage Swisher has dumped out with utility, and Wolf will fall. More damage done onto Seb, and now he's going to swing for the fences. He's cut off an entire prong of attack all on his own.
Oh man, it's hard not to laugh. Like Swisher's just dumping utility on them, and look at what he was able to do. He just cleared him up with mollies, a nade. Oh man, and now you can see Sin. He's on pizza. It's only a little bit of a small bite, but okay, we're back to a 2-2. Leaving it now for Rek to be quick onto this Swan, and Rek once again find himself a double with the FAMAS, and a little bit more of a grindy round, but again, Limitless, they had to go for something big there. It just wasn't enough. They only took down 3 players, which again is not going to make too much of an impact considering that M80 are going to be a little bit more light on that utility, but at the same time, they can just put some MP9s on the board to, you know, kind of work around it. So not the best position. And like you said, damned if you do and damned if you don't. And right now, it's going to be a bit of a grind around here for Limitless.
Yeah, I mean, Limitless, they get their opportunity to at least encroach upon that B bomb side. They're getting into dark. They're finding a way to get into the front of B main, but unfortunately, just swift rotations from the defense and just not enough time for Limitless to get settled, even if they are getting picks back. Now, they're on pistols. This can still be dangerous, and Rek gets a little overzealous, just swinging for the fences outside of A main. Wolf capitalizes, and now it's Sin in the hot seat as they decide to encroach upon this A bomb site.
Yeah, and then Sinso with 15 bullets, and oh man, he just makes it look so damn clean. Oh man, just takes them apart. Just fall down like trees, and there we go. A map and series point here for these guys, and now Limitless, man, they got a lot of work cut out for them.
Well, look, Sin, when he was brought onto Big, was supposed to be a secondary caller, but mostly a fragging player on that German roster. When he comes over to M80, you're thinking he's got to deal with all of these calling things and captaincy and all that. But look, he can still frag. He can definitely still put up some solid numbers. And mechanically, when he can just put himself into that position, he can have himself a whale of a time. So lovely stuff there from the captain of M80. And now Limitless, final buy, essentially final timeout being used. It's now or never for them, and M80 look to just absolutely collapse upon Limitless to start out the series of best of ones.
I'm still kind of in awe right now that Sin was able to make that happen with a FAMAS. I really, you know, I feel like every time we're on the desk together, I'm like, I always have some criticism about the FAMAS, but I know his pistols, it wasn't like anything crazy, but I just feel like you never really get to see that many highlights with it. But either way, he made it look nice, made it look a little bit clean, and we'll see if Slacks can make something clean here. Oh my God, he catches the foot. And Tender, look at him. He's just gonna limp his way onto bridge. Slacks catches a nade. He even gets the kill. He's able to finish his meal before he goes down. But now Sin, he's close behind him, able to get this trade. And Limitless already now needing to pull back so early in this round.
Limitless just so hungry to try and claim mid-control. And while all this is happening and all that kerfuffle, Wolf has made it all the way through the A site. He's calling his team back around. Surely there's some sort of an audio cue that's been given, but they're just trying to reclaim mid. Finally, Rek will move back out. This is a freebie for Wolf, and now the jig is up. They know that the A side has fallen, and that there's a real opportunity for the T side to claim themselves their first round. A 3v3 retake, you know, kits up. You've still got a little bit of utility if you're the CT side. It's doable, but I'm not going to say it's very easy.
Yeah, I feel like, we talked a lot about this yesterday for the fact of, on Inferno, like they were just kind of, being conservative. They were saving those guns. Obviously not the same map, obviously very different, but in this situation, like for them to potentially save these guns, I wouldn't even hate it. You can see they're kind of poking the idea that they want to see if they can find something. And I think they're hoping that they can find a quick kill, maybe easy. Now they're just going to try to commit to it, but yeah, it's going to be DJF that does a good job to locking it down, keep themselves alive in this game. But I was thinking M80 we're going to be a bit more disciplined on that, maybe just kind of saving the guns. But, I don't mind them attempting it, but it just kind of puts this money, a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, I think after that flank fails, I think that's when you just call those two players off on the mid side and just say, just pack it up. Just save your guns. We'll have enough of a buy to stave on over into round number 17. But they send everything in the kitchen sink in that final retake. And they have to suffer the consequences. It's one rifle and one sniper to really write home about here for M80. But, of course, they can still just end the game here with the kind of buy that they have before us. So far, Limitless seem to be a little bit slower on the default, but the idea is very clear. They want to get themselves dark control, and they want to try and pressure this B bomb site.
Oh, I was thinking Lake might be able to get himself a little bit of a decent timing, but the double molly's actually really pushed him back, but just behind Pillar. And now you can see that Limitless right back into this, grouped up for the B. But again, that bomb's on the other side. Oh, Lake, a little bit of a misplay from him. But now Swisher trying to just get his revenge for his teammate. They're able to do it. And now with 50 seconds remaining on the clock, Limitless still have some time to pull back on this, make a new plan. That's exactly what they're going to go for. Wiz is now going to lead the charge here with the bomb in his hand. He's going to come through mid door. So instead of kind of wrapping around towards A, they're actually going to get themselves on the bridge. But look at Rek. He's already got so much information. This is problematic. This is not a good situation for Limitless at all.
But the penny has dropped for Slacks. He knows what's coming. He has these cross angles down to a T. Finds himself one. Spots out a second, but just overflicks just slightly. DJF will get the better of him. Still a man disadvantage here for the T side, and they have no idea that Rek was a thorn in the side. And now Tender, caught between a rock and a hard place, triangulated, and then some. 13-4 reads the score as M80 trounce Limitless, as we kind of expected here, Laz, in map number 1.
Yeah, they definitely did, right? I mean, it looked a little bit close in the beginning. Just like I said, they weren't able to find that pistol in the second round, but really it started to, warm up pretty quickly for these guys, and they really were just playing their game. And honestly, you got to give it to a little bit here for Limitless. Again, this is a team that's kind of going through a really weird identity crisis. The roster's all over the place. So for these guys, it was more about just, playing and having fun and learning a thing or two against a top team like this. So I'm glad to see M80 kind of bouncing back pretty quickly on that. I was a little bit worried that it might have been a problem, but no problems here for Lake. I mean, he was not like the top fragger on this for the KD player to watch, but he was somebody that put up some really good ADR. He got himself some really good impact with just mechanics alone, I would say.
Yeah, T-side, he did his job and then some. I mean, I really did like how he was incorporating the mid-takes, the way he was working hand-in-hand with Slacks. I think those flight paths looked pretty solid for my liking. I think on the CT side, he doesn't have the most aggressive roles. He's not fighting in mid on a regular basis like Sin is. He's kind of that B rotate. So overall, still a solid map here from Lake. Still showing to me that there are signs that he can stay within this roster. There's definitely not an alarm bell on the side of me that's saying, oh, this is not going to work and that you should find probably a better fifth. I think this is more tilting towards the side of he needs more time, and he's already showing that he can hang in this roster's level of caliber. But folks, that is going to do it for map number 1. We've got Ancient waiting in the wings for map number 2. You definitely don't want to miss it. Let's watch more M80 action after this extended break, and we'll see you guys just in a little bit.
Okay, we're back, and now we're here for the second and last best of one here between M80 and Limitless, and we just saw that M80 took them pretty much apart here in Anubis, and now we're going to be switching things over to the swampy waters of Ancient and Paladin. How do you feel about this one? Because I definitely have my own thoughts as well.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just scoffed at it and said, "What? How why are we going to this map in the first place?" But look, there is a rhyme and a reason to it. This was a very successful map for the Carpe Diem core, and that's kind of what they're going off of. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news to the folks at home, but they haven't been able to win on any other map other than this one. And unfortunately for them, this is also a map where Lake has just done so much damage on, and M80 have looked absolutely stellar for the course of a long period of time. So I think even though we're getting towards a veto in which Carpe Diem, or now known as Limitless, know what winning is like, it's not going to be just immediately rejuvenated here in this map specifically.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, as soon as I saw the video coming through, it's like, look, like I really feel like this was kind of desperation, and like you said, maybe them thinking, yeah, we won these games, way back, and I think that was in May, just for context. Like, it's been some time, so
Yeah.
like these guys haven't tasted a W in a long time, so they're kind of going back to the old faithful. We'll call it that. I don't know, but you know what? It's better to try it than not, I guess. But at the same time, like for anybody that was here yesterday, we got to see M80 playing Exos Laser. They had a 13-6 win. It looked really good. Honestly, not a lot of concerns, I don't think, for M80. There was a kind of a little bit of back and forth in the beginning for I think that first maybe 6-7 rounds, but really it was M80 just kind of getting right back into the groove and hitting the rubber to the road and looking really good. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing. These guys are sitting at a 16-4 record, so it's impressive to say the least.
Yeah, the problem with Carpe, I keep saying Carpe Diem, Limitless going back to Ancient, is that Carpe Diem and their success on this map came down to having a nice IGL in Micro and having a star rifler in Lake, and you don't have either of those pieces. They're just gonna have to try and brute force their way through this. There's still a T-sided start for M80. Wiz is doing his best at the back of the big box to find some sort of kills, and he will. He's found 3 in total, and now he just gotta hold on for dear life as Lake finds one more. It thrusts Lakes into the 1v2, and surely they just double swing him at the ripest opportunity, just continue to whittle him down. This should be a pistol for Limitless unless Rek can do something absolutely despicable, and it's nearly there, but the CTs will claim themselves a first round courtesy of Wiz on that quad kill.
Yeah, and honestly, it's that situation once again where Limitless, they do find the pistol round, so that was kind of their little bit of money strategy, I guess, if you want to call it that. Is they get those first 1-2 rounds, and then that's when things started to get a little bit more bumpy. But honestly, that's that same thing, or the other side of the coin here for M80. Like, we're just not seeing them getting the job done on those pistol rounds. So again, we talked about the kinks and things they got to work on. Could be one of them. A Molly's going to get thrown. Not going to be fully connected. Swisher actually gets out of it in time, but now Seb, you get the job done. The plant's coming through, and it is going to be done. So they got that money extra little bit of a bump. And now it's just all about just finding maybe a kill or two. Even Sin getting the knife out to be a little bit cheeky, and not going to happen, but to say the least, I like the attempt.
Yeah, the plant is what they were looking for, and that plant is what they got. They'll have the 2-0 deficit, but this third round bye will be healthy. Limitless, again, they get themselves a 2-0 start, but this is kind of where things fell apart in the first map. They weren't able to start to string rounds together, and M80 just went for a streak and a half. Very curious to see how they decide to get these SMGs involved. They've got a bit of a bonus situation here for themselves. And for M80, let's start to see what this team has on offer.
Yeah, this is a big round for M80 right now, and once again, this is where they were, on Anubis, they were able to bring things back a little bit of mid control, and once again, Lake, this is the same thing we saw from yesterday. He likes to get aggressive. Swisher's actually going to be able to win this. Lake not going to be so lucky though, but gets caught and Sin instant with the trade back. Oh. And there's oh my god, even Slacks in the back of B main like that. Are you joking me?
Just raw individuals across the board. Lake decides to take space. Susher is there for the immediate trade. Sin finds his kill. Slacks is also there. It is pandemonium for Limitless as they're just not able to navigate any of these gunfights. DJF will hear that this A site is hot under pressure, but he can't do anything to stop it. The smoke is coming in for that CT spawn, which means that he's just going to be isolated here. There's no real way that he can get himself involved, and Sin will just decapitate him. It's just Seb left up with 8 HP. He does find one on the way out, which is nice for the cash, but M80 will, once again, similar to Anubis, find themselves that first buy round straight away.
Yeah, it's so much like, it's so convincing too, right? I mean, they only lose maybe that, like, you know, 2 guys, but really it looks so efficient and so clean from these guys. So they bounce back nicely. They get themselves on the board, and look at the situation once again. It is a bit of deja vu where we saw Limitless with these 5-7s and Deagles kind of getting worked around. Last time in Anubis, we saw, you know, they tried to go for like a little bit of a B main push. This time they are just going to commit to that 3-2 setup. So leaving Red Root open, they're not going to have anybody in mid. They're not going to have anybody kind of, you know, attesting to this. And instead it is going to be some control from DJF. Pushed up on the left-hand side of A main. So Rek, I guess, has to be a bit careful on this. He does spot the one player. It's a bit of a labored kill coming in, but some spray. But Tender does get a little bit caught here. And I do like this from DJF, just pulling back on it. But look at it once again, the positioning from Lake. You got to give it to this guy, man. He just seems to be at the right place, the right time. Maybe not there, but earlier on, let's say.
Yeah, just the proactivity is what's most important, right? Very... Again, I have to give the comparison to Mobs in terms of like-for-like positioning, and that's what that guy excelled at, just showing proactivity in aggression in specific spots and making sure that the opponents would always have to second-guess where that mid-lurk is off to. It's a hard line to walk, and we've seen definitely where Lake has faltered in that situation, but for the most part right now, he's been very keen on taking that space, and he'll always have a buddy to at least help out in case things go wrong, as in round number 2 with the help from Sin.
Yeah, and even Rek, I was wondering if he was going to maybe try to push for this, but honestly I think, you know, DGF keeping this AK, it's not really much for M80 to be sweating about. It's worth for them just to keep these players alive, which they'll be able to do. But now with the money, oh man, DGF barely surviving that one. But I mean, honestly, there is going to be money on the table here for Wiz. They do have that 5,300. I mean, it's a bit sketchy to go for the op. Not saying it, you know, it's not off the table, but looking like they don't want to even entertain it at all. So they don't want that course of a meal. They're going to go for just the M4s, which probably is the better call just in terms of having that utility, having those couple kits available on the docket here. So we'll see what they can pack a punch with on this one.
Yeah, go for mid control straight away. Just try to quell Lake for at least a little bit. There's a real thorn in the side for them on Anubis, and they've got to find a way to deal with him there, but they're not going to opt in for it. Instead, it's a 4-player lean, trying to gather themselves Jag control, but even in that situation, they get volleyed off, they get pushed away, and take a boatload of damage. They lose DJF with a nade combo from Sin. That's lovely work. Luckily, Wolf is there for the immediate trade, meaning that we're still in a 4-on-4. Still with 1:20 left on the clock now. The cogs aren't turning for M80. They start taking space elsewhere. Lake is out in middle. Rek has taken A main control. Now Limitless have to respond, and they've got to respond quickly.
Oh, man. Just Lake once again, man. So lethal. So precise. And now, I mean, you can even see it once more. And even Slacks, he's just able to have himself a field day. And okay, we talked a lot about, you know, the mechanical and the individual prowess right now from M80. They put themselves back into the lead position once more. Limitless, once again, in a position where they're just probably going to have to invest pretty much nothing just to making sure they can kind of keep themselves in a better position for, you know, the op potentially in round number 7. But, I mean, I feel like this is where they should just go for something random, right? Like a mid push or try to crunch something on B, like just something quick and dirty.
That's probably the best idea at this point, but much of the same, unfortunately, for them. Gonna try again to just show some sort of Jag presence, but they just can't, man. I mean, these Molotovs are so oppressive, and these nades are absolutely brutal. See ya, Wolf. It is a huge attack from the T side. Lake is just an animal right now through middle, and I don't think there is anything that Limitless can do in this circumstance. They've even got players blind and they can't convert. Oh, nearly just a flubbed line there from Tender. Luckily is able to find that AK at the end of it all, but the site is still lost, and it's still looking like a 4th round for M80.
Oh boy. Okay, a couple more casualties than I was kind of thinking, but yeah, it's crisis averted. M80 once again back into the same, like I said, deja vu a little bit here, because I mean now they're going to go against the guns. There should be they might even just go over the situation once more where they don't put the AWP back out. It's just the money is just, it's so unforgiving on the CT side. That's going to be one of the most frustrating things, is just that you can be so close, but it's just not worth to go for the glass cannon.
No, not at all. And with how Wiz wants to use that AWP, you really do want all the bells and whistles you can ask for. Be lean here from M80. It's actually Sin operating with the mid presence, as Lake is peering off into the A side, and Wiz will take him out, but there's so much resources that are being drawn towards Lake that this B side is underhanded. They've been able to waltz all the way up. There should be a plant available, and Swisher's getting active. Wreck alongside him. Sure, they've got Cave, but what do you do in this post plant?
Yeah, and this is a good idea because you can see that Swisher is still playing quite aggressive on it. So I like this, and Slacks is even going for the fake. Oh man, he's just playing with his food, and oh man, Tender just, oh, he bit on it, and okay, M80 right back to what they do. A good nade, does some decent damage. These guys try to go for the double boost over the box, or just, you know, just spot something, but they're gonna have to save. They have to get out of this situation. They have no control anymore. They only have one PC utility with no kit. So yeah, they're done. They're out of here. So now by M80, they could try to go for a little bit of a hunt. Sin almost gets himself something, but now you can see, I think even Swisher, if I'm not mistaken, he's going to throw his flashbang. He should be able to find his kill. He will not actually, but okay. They're going to get the round regardless, but they've kind of thrown the bodies, and they lost a lot of guys, but that op should be saved.
I mean, you've got players with 5-digit bank accounts. It is no issue for M80. They're going to go for the hunt every day of the week. I mean, right now, the T side is just winning every duel, and I praise the macro in a lot of these rounds, but this time I have to praise the micro adjustments that they're going towards in this B side. In that kind of man disadvantage situation around these beats and bobs of utility, they know they don't have any cave control. They know they don't have any of that back cube space, and they're just so proactive to take that kind of room and never let Limitless breathe, no matter what the situation is. Slack's also finding an entry before that bomb goes down. It is everything. It is everything that you could ask for in a T-side campaign for M80. Now, the minute 35, it's Swisher's turn to try and take some cave control. And all this is happening. DJF is getting antsy, and he's just let his teammate die. That trade is there. And man advantage is found at the very least. Tender is there, but oh goodness me. When one head of the Hydra is cut off, Laz, another one sprouts up.
Oh, ain't that the truth. And almost DGF, you know, in that position he was in, he almost put himself in a triple kill, but just not enough. Sin gets a little bit over on the peak now, so things have kind of turned a little bit. It's down to the 1v1. Tender throwing just whatever utility he can pick up here. He's got the flashes. He's got a kit. Slack's going to get caught again with these flashbangs. The commit's going to come through the defuse. Slacks doesn't go for it, but he's going to be able to find it. It's a little bit close for comfort, but M80, they still keep it going.
12-2 for Slacks. What a series the Germans been having right now. I mean, they got around 180 R plus on Anubis, and now look at a gun for that same level here on Ancient. He's just running circles around the defense. To do it on an offensive AWP as well is filthy work. 6 rounds for M80. Again, mid-control being the name of the game. It's been very kind to them throughout this half. They don't have to deal with any sort of utility. They can throw that front red smoke, a donut smoke as well, and get Lake involved straight away.
Well, I even like the pop open of the red room smoke, just trying to see if maybe Lake could get something, but just a little bit of off on the positioning, but doesn't even matter because Rec, he's about to look for something here, and okay, wow, that's a great trade. I was thinking Slacks, he was kind of in a tight spot where he had to go for the shot, maybe to hit his teammate, and you can see now they're starting to just load the kill feed a bit more. Lake, is he going to expect this player close on his right? He's not looking, he's not checking, it's just Seb. All he has to do is just put a couple more steps in the smoke, but he's a little bit timid. He doesn't want to do it. And now M80, they've taken possession of CT spawn. And you have the rotative Seb. He has nothing to answer with. And once again, it's just M80 all over the scoreboard.
He doesn't want to move throughout that smoke because they cut noise. There's just no idea as to where these players have gone on or whether they're watching the smoke at all. And that thought terrifies Seb. That apprehensiveness comes with the territory. They're down 6-2. They just want to get the round at that point. And it just will not... That's just not how you're going to be able to run against M80. You're not going to be able to keep up. You've got to fight fire with fire. You've got to command their respect a little bit. And right now, none of that is happening. It's Swisher's turn to go charging into a site. Climbs into the B approach, sitting inside his own smoke as they just continue to batten down the hatches. I mean, they're going to try to retake this space, but look at how close up Swisher is at this point. He's basically gifted an entry, but Seb does clip his wings. This is all ruse, though. They're all trying to pull back players into that B bomb site. And with the A anchor dead, there's a post plant again for Limitless that they've got to navigate.
Oh, but you know, for Lake turning his back onto this, I mean, that's going to be a free kill for Wolfie, so it's a nice one right there. And okay, so they got themselves the number advantage, and again, they haven't really been able to find themselves that for quite some time. But look at M80 cutting the noise once again. They're just going to go for a stroll. They're just going to go for a bit of a walk. I mean, they still got 48 seconds that they can work with. Now they're going to try to go through T spawn. Wolfie's kind of getting himself a bit of a scent on what's happening here, but you can see M80 now they're just going to split each other apart. And this is really, really interesting because, again, Slacks, he's down to 3 HP. He has 3 health points. And he's got the op in his hand. He's got the bomb with him, too. His teammate goes down. There we go. Limitless will be able to find themselves something. And now, for the first time, they'll have the op in the hands on the CT side.
Yeah, I like the readjustment there from M80 to go for that A play, but unfortunately, even after they get the kill in the DJF, it's just not decisive enough. They're just kind of wandering onto the site. They don't have enough utility down, considering they're just very confident. They just want to take the aim duels, and that's when the CT strike. They find a way to get themselves an advantageous position. They read what's coming in the potential 2vx, and now Limitless have to claim themselves these last 2 rounds if they want any chance in this best of 1. But right now, that's not to be the case. Oh, that spam is pretty decent to say the least. 10 HP on Swisher, but no kill means that will not be identified just yet.
Surely not from Seb. I was thinking he looks like, in the X-ray, he looks like he wants to go for a little swing. I'm like, surely you're not going to. There's an op there. Smoke gonna get thrown. Bide him a little more time. Oh, interesting. Oh, they're gonna go for a double boost. I like this Paladin. Oh, this is cheeky. Oh, this is so cheeky, but he just can't find the shot. You gotta give him A for effort though, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's ballsy. And Limitless spotted out nonetheless. They're still really hell-bent on encroaching on this B bomb. So there are 3 players here, but none of them are on the actual site. Kendra will still have a sight line to take a duel. And Seb is good to at least spam Yeah, Tender's going through this. He wants to duel. He wants to tussle with M80, but he doesn't find anything. Sin is immediately there to respond in kind. Lake takes a couple of bullets, but that bomb will go down in the 3v4. Timer starts to tick, and this is just a necessary conversion needed for this ET side, but Slacks has got the crossing angle. His German counterpart is there as well, but there's DJF. Wow. Quick double from him puts the pressure back onto Slacks.
No way. Oh, dear goodness. Now he has to go for the reload, too, so the defuse is already getting committed. He's aiming the wrong way. Oh, man, they will get the bomb defuse. Not a bad effort. I mean, a little bit ballsy, but you know what? He was running out of options, I guess, and yeah, they can afford the round, I guess, but either way, you got to give it to Limitless. They reacted perfectly on that, and just kind of, you know, pros don't fake.
I was very scared there that Slacks were just going to rack him up and Limitless would squander another man advantage, but they hold their ground. They find the way to get him off the angle as he tries to move and relocate himself, and Sin cannot find enough time to stall. 4 rounds now for Limitless, trying to make it 5 at the tail end of the half here, but unfortunately there was a gap in that smoke. Unbeknownst to Tender, he will fall. This nade is going to try to get kicked open, but it's not deep enough. And in fact, it just kind of gives information to the T side that there is a player in red. Lake will again go aggressive here. He'll have the opportunity onto Wolf, but slightly off the mark. The trade is far off, but will be found regardless. He's spotted out. Sin tries to get himself a second, but that's not to be. Swisher will stay proactive on this B site. Finds that it's clear, but there's no bomb. It's got to hurry back on the shoulders of Slacks. So in the meantime, Swisher has got to shave off at least one player before this is a doable round.
No way, no way, no way. Swisher, Swisher, Swisher! Oh my god, how does he get that timing? And there it is again. He's just trying to hold his position. A smoke to block things off just a little bit. And now it's down to the 1v1. Op versus Op. And even Wiz, he has no idea. Look at his repositioning. I thought he would have heard maybe the scope. But now he's going to press through into Red Room. Slacks is still expecting him to be here. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he expect him to be here? But lots of utility available for Wiz. Plant's going to come through. But this is a big question now. Where does Slacks go for the post plant? It looks like he's just going to hold himself into the site. Wiz, he's just been able to maneuver around the map. And he might get the timing on this. And this could be flawless. I mean, you can see he's coming through cave now. Slacks finally getting a bit of real estate, a bit of information. Now he's got the better reposition. Oh, he reads it like a book. Catches him in the kneecap. Now it's all down to this. A fake defuse. Slacks goes aggressive with the op. He can't make the no-scope happen. He tries to see what he can do. It's going to be a 7-5 half in favor for M80 as we're going to switch things over for that second just after the break. All right, welcome back. It's Ancient. It's the second half, and it's a 7-5. Limitless showing they can pack more of a punch here, Paladin, and now they're on the T side. Do they have enough in them?
I don't know. I mean, without the direction of a player like Micro, it's going to be much more difficult. But we'll see if they've got enough to tussle with the likes of M80. There's a complete retake setup for the CTs right now, as lane has been compromised, but Limitless should be able to at least claim themselves a plant here. But they're fast on the heel of the CTs. Swisher immediately falls with those dual Berettas. And now with donut control, you've got to favor the offensive, especially now that Wolf gets himself a second.
Yeah, and already down to the 5-on-3, so Limitless are putting themselves in a good position here for the post plant. And there is still a kit here for Sin, so, I mean, this is a situation here for the CTs. They just have to be able to get some connections with the headshots. This is not looking like it's going their way. And now the CT's scrambling around the site, doing everything they can, but Slacks again! He's just able to take them apart by parts, and now the defuse coming through, it's just not meant to be, and Tender will be able to find another pistol round, just barely.
Oh my goodness, that 90-degree flick from Slacks there is incredible to find the second. But it's not to be. The body blocking is just not good enough. And Tender, of course, it's going to be easy to just chew through those bodies with those dual Berettas. And he makes it look easy. 7-6 now as Limitless get both pistols in this game. Mac 10 is out. And Force Buy is through for the defense. Looking to try and quell whatever respect that has been dashed by the T side. Tender is still going to very quietly climb up the ramp. As it's spotted out, and it's a double kill from the 5-7. That is sublime from the German captain. And another rifle can be recovered, I'd like to think. Oh, maybe it's been spotted out and picked up by the T side, because now Swisher's caught between a rock and a hard place. But again, he's stalled for long enough that all three remaining M80 players are here to try and deal with the situation at hand. But Wolf is there, DJF as well, and the Mac 10s. Moving targets like that are just so hard to keep track of, and those rifles can never get off the ground.
Yeah, I was really thinking those, that was a really good amount of work coming in from Sin to be able to find himself that double like that. It was really unfortunate to see, Swisher pulling out the HE. Like, he was stalling a long time. But, again, if he would have just had his gun out, could have changed things around maybe just a bit more. But good work from Limitless, just, again, capitalizing, getting themselves in a better position, just trying to isolate those fights right away, just making sure none of those pistols were going to be close. Now they're just going to bombard into mid here. A bit of a 3-2 split, but M80, they're up to something. They got 4 different players now waiting here on the outskirts of the A side, close on by. The USPs, a couple, 5-7 Deagle, whatever, but Limitless, they're kind of walking into a bit of a bear trap potentially. Yeah, that's not going to feel good, but okay. Good little bit of recovery, tap away.
No.
Sure is able to get that kill. Oh, dear God.
Oh, no.
What is happening? How is this happening again? These guys are losing to, like, light pistols. Okay, yeah. No, I think Seb, he's no longer for this world. He's got 4 health, 4 HP, and that Molly's just going to push him back even longer. This is problematic.
How Tender just cannot complete that kill is beyond me, and now that has come back to haunt them. 2 5-7s bought through. And Seb will just never be able to win that round on such low HP. M80 on an unlikely round get away with murder. They get away with 3 AKs, a boatload of cash, and a just defeated Limitless. I mean, look at the finances at that point. It's just tragic.
Oh, man, it's so tragic. It really is. And like you said, like, I love that we caught the POV Pretender. He's just, you could see he's like tapping too. Like, he's trying so hard and he still just can't make the connection. It is the worst feeling when you think you have the frag and you just can't get it done. But for M80 fans here in the chat, they're definitely going to be ecstatic, that it went this way and finally back in the lead. And boy, oh boy, This is going to be a tough pill to swallow here for Limitless. And look at the setup they have right now. Even the bomb in T-spawn, like they have no sort of a plan on this. They have no idea what they want to do. They're just kind of on the outskirts of, you know, Banana here. Lake's just going to, you know, poke and prod a little bit, getting himself some extra stats. Why not? And yeah, he's just going to load the kill feed for himself. And Limitless, they are out of options.
Yeah, this is a save through and through. They wanted to get these pistols involved to maybe pre-fire a couple of angles, but it's not to be. Like, farming up those eeks, as he said, he gets himself an ace. I wonder if it's one of his first ones in 80 threads.
I think it might be. Yeah.
So, first of many, I'd hope.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think it might be. I'm actually going to look after here, but good work from him. And you know, you talked about in the very beginning, before we even started any of the best of ones, was, you know, like this is a lot of his old teammates, and it's kind of funny because you know those tendencies of your former teammates, but how much he's been able to elevate himself to playing with a team like this on M80, and you can just see he's looking good already. 14-13, Sin at 15-9, and Slacks again. I was just going to talk about him, saying he was having himself a really good first half, continuing that mayhem, and look at how aggressive they're getting. They're trying to get this thing done. Sin just gets a kill through the smoke. Okay, yeah, this is becoming the horseshoe is now on the side here for M80. They're just making all the perfect connections, Paladin, and this thing is just, it's just bullying at this point.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it. Just domination, everything going the way of M80. Limitless head in hands following that fiasco of a full eco. And now they just don't have. I mean, it is really just a mental killer to lose a round like that. A way to get back into this game, to finally gain some momentum and put the pressure on M80. And once that fleeting chance has faded, you have to feel that the favorites will just run away with this one. And that's kind of what it's looking like right now. 11th, basically a near guarantee for the CTs before Limitless can get another buyout.
Yeah, and I think you were correct. This is the first ace for Lake on this roster, is second overall. And now, actually, surprisingly, Raki gets caught a bit exposed here in M80. Need to be a little bit careful, but who other than Slacks? He's just mowing him down. But it's a bit of a grindy round in the sense here. There's still 2 AKs here for the CT side, but again, the bomb's going to be able to make its way all the way to this B site. They're going to get the plant guaranteed, so they're going to have that money even if this player goes down. But I mean, it's a question now for Wolfie, like, what is he going to be able to find? 21 HP, no utility, with a Tech 9 in his hand. And I mean, again, I don't like these odds, but at least he got his job done for the bomb down.
Well, he's got to make do with this close range Tech 9. There's an opportunity at 1, but Sin is there to capitalize. 11th, definitely not a free round with the kind of awkward sprays from 3 of those players, but they get the job done nonetheless. They stall out this defuse as well so they can make sure they get every little bit of utility, recover a potential op. I'm not sure if Slacks had purchased into one. I don't think so. Okay, yeah, there's still just a couple bits of utility that he wanted to pick up. Smart lad there. And now, Limitless, this is the final buy. This is really it. You can't get it done here, pack it up, and go home.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, they are going to use that timeout, which, yeah, is a very well-timed one. I mean, it is their first one in this game, but a lot riding on this, right? I mean, 5,500 still for DJF. I would like to see them just go for the 5 rifles personally. I mean, I know I might get a little bit flamed for that. I mean, an op definitely can bring a lot to this map, but I think just given how we've seen, you know, how Limitless have been playing, it's not necessarily a situation where I've been feeling too confident with it. Wiz had himself a couple good moments, but that was really it. And then it kind of, you know, steamed off. It wasn't really too much. Well, we'll find out. AK's across. Up here for Mr. Slacks. And everything riding on this one for 19. Limitless now. They're actually going to aggress into mid. They haven't been able to do this too convincingly yet. They do find their engagement here with Seb, and now Lake Does get himself a little bit of a reply back, and he is still going to re-aggress on this. Picks up the AK with 21 bullets, and the CTs have been able to grab this B long control. So already some decent real estate from the CT side, putting in that aggression. And surprisingly, Limitless, they're picking up some kills.
Yeah, a lot of audio cues being given over. You have the one where Switter is jumping to throw a flash for his teammate. You got Lake picking up an AK. Both very unnecessary actions. And Limitless are there to respond very quickly to the situation. I've still got a lot to give in this game just yet. They're going to encroach upon that A bomb site. They should have themselves a bomb plant. Both of these M80 players are stuck on the B site. And you'd like to think that Tender should be able to cut off at least one rotation. And while all this happens, Wolf is going to slink his way into the spawn. Oh, it's just a matter of timing. Tender is not able to spot out anybody. And here comes that bomb plant. What's the plan here for M80? Do they want to save? I don't think they definitely do. They've got plenty of cash to go for this. But they've got to find a way to clear them out. And maybe they just do prioritize that AK a little too much. Slacks misses his shot. And now he's just going to get crunched upon from every single angle. Finds one. Trying to still live here for as long as possible. We're very quick on his heels, but will not find the necessary kill. So I believe Slacks will be able to hold on to this gun. Limitless will jump up to 8 rounds, and ME still have themselves quite a number of rounds to at least secure themselves over time.
Yeah, this is really important. I mean, again, they have tons of cash, so I mean it's kind of redundant in a way. Like Slacks is sitting at 11K, but it is really good that the fact that he can keep that off, obviously with that big investment, 4750. I mean, it's a big deal, and the fact that he was able to find 2 kills as well, it just makes it even worse for wear here for the T side. You got to burn that extra money to get those guns, so that was a really good way for him just to stay alive. I mean, those guys were trying to go for fights left, right, and center. So again, that's where Slacks has put himself at 22-7. I mean, and surprisingly, like Rec, like he hasn't really been needed. Like he's 5-14, but his teammates have just been able to really pick up. I don't even want to call it slack. I mean, they've just been able to pick up a lot of extra lifting here, and he's not as heavy of an impact as normal, but it's just a little bit interesting to see him in this kind of a score line. And I was worried here for Sin, but he's still going to press forward, and I thought that Nate would do a little bit better. But Paladin, I'm not against this from Limitless, just getting feelers and defaulting things out, just considering what we've seen so far.
Yeah, trying to get some space somewhere. Oh, but the lineup, a little bit of team damage as well, and Sin rather, just knocks them down. Limitless now in a 3v5 have got to find a group up and hope that they can find an advantageous trade. But with 50 seconds left, I don't think that can really happen. Sin still has this sliver angle to find himself another before he falls. And I guess this is the Hail Mary into that B site. Seb should be able to confirm this one kill. There's no way that Sin can get out alive, and he will fall. But there's no long smoke. Okay, there it is. Finally, it will go down. Bomb should be able to get planted. Oh, no, it's not. It actually is denied by Lake. Slacks on the edge of the smoke as it gets kicked up is there, and Rec will chime in through the floorboards. Oh, my goodness. That is just textbook work from M80. Dispatching of these Limitless players. Not even giving them the honor of a bomb plant.
Nope. And, I mean, that was such a, bit of a cluster just in cave like that, but we just caught at the end there, like the nade was getting popped open of the smoke. I love that Slacks just being in the position he was in. He's just so scary with that op, man. He's just going off on a tear.
23-7, man.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, it's good to see, right? I mean, he's always been able to put up some decent numbers, but I feel like it's been a little while since we put him up these kind of numbers.
Yeah, the takeover type games, and he's not going to stop here. Another kill onto TJF. Rec is a little hung out to dry there, but you'd think that Slacks would get one more kill on the way out, but here's Lake, the new kid on the block, to chime in, stall long enough for Swisher to come in. It's just Seb the only player to find any kills in this round here, and he's not long for this world. It took a little bit of time here for M80 to close this one out, but they still find a victory nonetheless. 13-8 rather for the side of M80, and they've still got themselves a clean sheet here in ECL.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, this was the, we talked about for yesterday. You and I were, the privilege of seeing them getting their debut, getting that 2-0. And here they are again, finding another, another day at the office, a 2-0. So now they put themselves at a 4-0 so far for the league. And I mean, definitely so much more improvement that we see today. And like we said, someone like Lake that was able to finish that game with 22-15. We saw Slacks winning himself at 24-8. So, and even Sin, like an IGL, like he even pushed double digits as well. So it really was a lot of, spreading the love a little bit here for this M80 squad. And I don't think we get to see that very often with those kind of numbers, but man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it shows how deep this roster really is. And I think when you lose a player like Mobs, in the interim, while Lake is still getting geared up, you want to find other ways to win games on a regular basis. You want to look towards a new star. And, you've got players like Slacks that are stepping up in numbers. You've still got Swisher pumping out frags as usual. And of course, Sin leading from front. And of course, we still do have to talk about Arcadia players to watch. And Lake did very respectable and then some. It feels like on Ancient he's just putting in so much work. Only getting better with every map being played. I think the sky's the limit for this roster. Of course, still my favorite to go towards that final slot for ECL. And as far as that second spot goes, it could really be a number of teams, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing, because we did talk about that a little bit before, where in the beginning of the show where we said, look, like there is still a lot of these big heavy hitting teams. Like you can't forget like Nouns, NRG still are putting themselves, I think they're at like 8-2 right now. You have a team like Wildcard that are still, like you still have a really good pocket of teams that are really good contenders, and it's going to be really interesting as we get closer to the end point of the season. But it is good to see a team like M80, kind of coming back in and getting themselves back in the winning column, because they had a bit of a late start for the season too. But that's going to be it for us, Paladin. And I mean, what a showcase from M80. Get themselves, a couple 2-0 sweeps. And anything that was a bit surprising for you at all from day one of yesterday in those best of ones and even today?
Not necessarily. I think it's more so realizing to all the folks at home that are avid M80 viewers that this is going to take a little bit of time. They had a huge hit in losing Mobs, and they found a diamond in the rough in Lake, who has shown a lot of promise in his time on Unjustified and on Carpe Diem, and now is trying to prove himself on a Tier 1 caliber roster. Only time will tell whether or not he can actually slot in, but so far the signs are very good. But that's going to be all we're having for you today in terms of the best of ones in this series. Hope you guys tune in for more ECL action across the week, next week, all over August and September. But of course, until then, we hope you guys have a good rest of your nights.